watched England play without him against Hungary, and there was certainly something lacking in the midfield, almost a first pick for England. Cashing in, you can only cash in, as you say, if someone puts an offer down that your club, whether it's Declan or whether it's anybody else, that finds acceptable valuation for what the player actually delivers for that football club. I think there's more value to having Declan playing in West Ham's team for what he gives all round, and being a player that can match any of the big players in the country, for me.
West Ham, your old club.
Yes.
Should we start with Declan Rice? Everyone talks about Declan Rice.
Yeah.
How good a player is he?
He's an outstanding player, to be honest. I wish he'd stop singing. He's putting me right off, to be honest with you. Come on, Deck. Outstanding player for his age, 22, rising 23. In the England midfield, watched England play without him against Hungary, and there was certainly something lacking in the midfield, almost a first pick for England, and captains West Ham at that age. Incredible.
He's got, my understanding, he's got 2 years plus one. West Ham got the option to roll on. He's going to leave West Ham, right?
Don't know.
No
idea.
I can't think of, apart from Matt Letizia, I can't think of any great player that doesn't sign for a bigger club.
Yeah.
Okay, so law of averages says he's going to leave West Ham at some stage.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Money talks in the world of football.
Yeah, okay.
Nowadays.
I'm not trying to get a quote out of you.
Of course not.
But, we all know how football works, and usually the big heads get the best players, is how it works.
Yeah.
If that's the case, if Declan Rice is going to leave West Ham, is it best to cash in now and get as much as they can, or keep him at the club for as long as they can and let him leave for free?
Well, I think when we talk about cashing in, you can only cash in, as you say, if someone puts an offer down that your club, whether it's Declan or whether it's anybody else, that finds acceptable valuation for what the player actually delivers for that football club. So I've no idea whether West Ham have had an offer from Declan either this summer or previously, from anybody, to be honest with you. More importantly, if they have, which is brilliant, your better players do court the attention of teams. If they have, then it's got to fit the valuation of what West Ham want.
But if a big offer comes in, would your advice be to get the money now, or let him stay at the club for 3 years and let him go for nothing? The reason I ask that is because the owners of West Ham traditionally don't spend copious amounts on their squad. They were crying out for a striker for a long time. I think they went 6 transfer windows without, I was going to say getting a replacement for Antonio, but helping him out, right? So if they were to cash in sooner rather than later, you'd like to think that money would be used.
Yeah. I think when you turn around and say that West Ham have gone 6 transfer windows and didn't buy a striker, you're alluding to the fact that there wasn't money available.
There's always money available.
There's money available, and you've got to understand that players want to go to teams that are playing in the Champions League. So sometimes if you identify somebody, you go after them, you can't actually kidnap them and make them come to your football club. Sometimes they want to go somewhere else, different clubs.
I know, but there'll always be someone who West Ham can buy, right?
Well, you can buy anybody.
Yeah.
But
if they had £100 million sitting there, they could invest that into the squad, and you could argue have a stronger squad than the one they've got now.
Potentially, yes. If someone said to me, you've got £100 million or you've got Declan Rice, I would stick with Declan. That would be my personal opinion on what I've seen.
Okay.
So,
that's what I was asking. Would you rather take the money or keep Declan?
I think there's more value to having Declan playing in West Ham's team for what he gives all round, and being a player that can match any of the big players in the country, for me.
Okay. Do you see him going on to be a future England captain?
Oh, without a doubt.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
I want to stay with West Ham. So Jesse Lingard has been linked back to the club. You were there last time round. He was there, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll talk about what he does on the pitch in just a moment. But what he did off the pitch, from what I saw on social media, and the sort of lift he gave that club, you must have felt that being there as well.
He certainly gives us. I can only tell you what I saw on the pitch. I don't do social media, so
but you would have been in and around the dressing room, the changing rooms, and on the training
100%. Yeah, I mean, I've been on the road with England when Jesse was an 16-year-old boy. I think, watching him play then in some of the young England games, and I know what he offers around the dressing room. He's a brilliant kid around the place, and I think he was fantastic at West Ham in the time he was there, and it's a real shame that he's not come back to join the club.
Do you think he should go back? They're linked to him today again.
I think it would be a major asset for the club if he did walk through the door and delivered the performances that he did first time round. Okay. Now, if he doesn't, then that's a different question altogether. But the bottom line is, when he come round, he had 6 months, and probably 6 months are the strongest 6 months he's had in his career.
Is it a good time to buy a Jesse Lingard now with the World Cup looming? Can he make that squad, do you think?
He's a Bosman. You don't have to buy him.
Okay, is it a good time to get him now, Jesse Lingard? Because you were just talking about you'd like to see the same performance again that you saw the last time he was at the club. Yeah. So bearing in mind we've got a World Cup on the cusp at the end of the year, do you think if he joined West Ham or wherever he goes, do you think he's good enough if he puts a shift in again to make the England squad?
Yes, yeah. I think it showed that last time. He hadn't featured with England, played particularly well for West Ham, got back in the England squad again. I think Gareth has shown that he'll pick anybody if they're good enough, without a doubt. And if I was him, I mean, it depends how much sway you hang on representing your country, but it would be a major concern for me, I'm talking about myself, about the opportunity to go to a major World Cup.
What have you made of their transfer business so far? Areola's come in again. They had him on loan. They've got him now permanently. Flynn Downs is there as well from Swansea. And Agard, the centre half. They paid £31 million. I don't know too much about him, but I understand he's a hell of a player, is what I'm reading.
I like him. I went to the night before the last game of the season. I went over to Lille to watch him play. And I thought he'd done well. What
kind of player is he like? Liking him to one I'm familiar with. Is he a ball playing centre half?
Yeah, he's decent with the ball. If I was to liken him to somebody from yesteryear, I don't know if I'm going back too far for you, Alan Hansen.
Yeah, of course, Liverpool. Yeah, superstar. Yeah, that's a hell of an accolade. That is.
Yeah, well, maybe ability wise, but that type, sort of quite tall, slim. Okay. Covers the ground quite well, comfortable on the ball. Yeah, I've quite liked what I've seen of him, to be fair.
Do you think when you see what Arsenal are doing, when you think of what Spurs are doing as well, West Ham, they've got to do more business in this window, do you think?
I think they're continually looking at players. I've been on the inside of it at West Ham, and I know for sure that Dave is continually looking at players to bring in, but he's got to be convinced in his own mind that they're going to be good enough to improve the squad. And on top of that as well, you're fighting against, when you identify a player that's good enough and make advances at bringing him to your club, you know full well that chances are that Liverpool and various other clubs are looking at the same players and potentially, turning that player's head as well.
You said in the first part of the show that Tottenham's aim would be trophy over top four.
If I was
your view,
a Tottenham fan, a Tottenham player, anything, yes.
Yeah. What's West Ham's this season?
I think in the last 2 years, bear in mind, when David Foote come back the second time round, his spec almost was to keep the team in the division when he walked through the door. He's turned that round from being a potential relegated team to qualifying for Europe 2 years running, which takes some doing, make no mistake about that. And I think it's just growing year on year on top of that, if they possibly can, Dave's obviously gone out and bought Agard at 30 million. He's bought Kurt Zuma as well a year ago at similar sort of costings. And it's a case of growing the squad. All of a sudden, Jared Bowen from the Championship is an England international now alongside his teammate that is Declan, who's come through the academy structure. So it's a case of growing it. And I would say potentially some form of silverware or European football.
Okay, can I ask you a horrible question?
What, unlike all the other ones you have?
Yeah. Is that all right?
Yeah, go ahead.
David Moyes, is he too good for West Ham? Or has he reached his ceiling?
He can manage wherever he wants to. I think people underestimate how good a coach he is.
Okay, is he good enough to manage a bigger club than West Ham?
Yeah, but I think he's happy at West Ham. I think West Ham are a big club. I mean, West Ham are 60-odd thousand season ticket holders in a wonderful stadium, and the club look as though they're rising year on year at the moment. So, You know, I think the two go hand in hand. David and West Ham go hand in hand. And the one thing I think, there's a great deal of respect there for the manager from the fans.
Okay, sorry for asking you horrible questions.
No, it's what I'm here for.
That's right, they're really good answers as well, right?
I don't know.
Almost like a politician sat alongside me.
Yeah.
We'll take